I am Cheryl, and I teach the computer classes at our main library. And today's class is called Files and Folders. It's one of our series of computer basics classes. Now, all the things on your computer are saved as files. All the documents, all the pictures, all the music, everything. It's a file. And these files can be organized into folders and moved around. And that is how we organize our things. That's how we find our things, move them around, and we can use that we can copy them and put them on different places. That's how we get, say, pictures from our phone onto our computer. We move them using a program called the File Explorer. And I am going to share my screen. Okay, this is my screen. And down in the bottom left-hand corner, on the bottom taskbar, this long skinny black area is called the taskbar. I have a little thing that looks like a manila folder. I can also get to it from the start button over here, which is the Windows logo. That's called the start button. If you click on that, your start menu pops up, and over here on the left, you will see an outline version of this same thing here. And either one of them works. They're both the exact same thing. And when I click on the icon, it opens it up like this, and then I can
I've seen that on. I've
yeah,
seen that, but
you'll see this. You'll see this window whenever you save things. You'll see this window whenever you open that up. Yeah, it's the basic File Explorer. Over here on the left, this column, or they call these panes, like window panes, because this is a window. So these different sections are called window panes. And this part is the different places on your computer where you can save information. And when you click on one of them, it will show you what's there in this pane over here on the right, in this big one. At the very top, so I'm going to go through these different places and talk about them and where they're at and everything like that. So quick access, at the very top is quick access. These are things that either are pinned up there because it thinks you will use them frequently, or it's folders that you have used recently. So they put them at the top so that you can go back to them quickly. Anything with a little thumbtack over here, that's called a pinned folder. That stays at the top and doesn't move. These ones up here that don't have a little thumbtack, those are just ones that I have been using recently. And if you use it recently, it just puts it up here for quick access. That's why they call this section quick access. And when I've got quick access clicked on over here, you also see when it says frequent folders, you also see the pinned ones, the ones with the thumbtacks. They're over here, and the most recent ones. So this is just a duplication of this. But underneath there, you will also see recent files. And these are actual files that I have opened up recently to look at or work on. So I can go here quickly, and if I want to, I finished working on this yesterday, I want to come back and open it up real quick without going through all of my files. There it is. So this part will change. Okay. Now, to get something to stay up here, when you open yours up, it probably has desktop, downloads, pictures, and documents, because that's the one that Windows automatically pins up here. I have a few others that I have pinned because these are ones that I go back and work on consistently over and over and over again a lot. So I wanted them here. And if I wanted something pinned up here, I would just find the folder. Let's say I want this one to stay. I would right click on it. Remember, when you right click on something, it brings up a menu. And I have a couple of pin options on this menu. Pin it to quick access will keep it up here in this list.
Right.
I can also click pin to start, which remember we did on Wednesday in the basics Windows class. If you pin it to start, it will put it down here on this screen.
Okay.
So it's just where do you want to keep it? And if I've got one pinned here and I decide I don't have to do this project anymore, I won't be coming back to this one. If I right click on that one, since it is already pinned, I now have one that says unpin, which will keep it, will make it not show up here on the top anymore. Okay. And so if I click on one of these, let's say I click on downloads, there's all the things I've downloaded and I can scroll down and see them. Now downloads is where the computer puts things automatically that you save from the internet. If you click a button that says save, or you try and save something from the internet and it doesn't tell you, it doesn't ask you where to put it, it just looks like it does it, but you don't know where it went, that's where it goes.
Okay.
It automatically goes here unless it asks you somewhere else to put it. So these are all things that I have downloaded off the internet for various projects.
Now, when you download something, it can be a document too, right?
Yes, download just means, okay, the internet is considered to be up and your computer is down. Loading is to just put something on your computer. So download means to take a copy down off the internet and put it on your computer. It doesn't matter what it is. Downloading is the verb.
Okay,
So,
now you also have another title that says documents.
documents
Now, when
is,
you download, does it automatically put it in documents as well if it's a document, or just stays in downloads?
Because your computer doesn't know, because documents, in Windows terms, documents is anything that's not a picture, a song, or a video. Everything else is a document. So it doesn't know what you want in documents. Documents is kind of pictures, documents, videos, and music are the 4 folders that are empty that they have you put your stuff in.
All right, but initially it takes it into downloads.
It takes it in downloads, and you have to decide where to put it.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know.
Yeah. Generally speaking, when we say documents, we usually mean something typed, but that's not what the computer decides a document is. For it, a document is just anything that it can't recognize as a picture, a video, or a music.
Okay.
And you are under no obligation to put pictures in the picture folder. And you are under no obligation to put anything that you typed up in the documents. It just that is a logical way to organize it that they think you're going to use.
Okay.
And two of those.
Can you put a picture in a document folder?
Yes, sure.
Or won't allow it? Oh, it will allow it? A photo in the document folder?
Yeah. It's not a hard and fast rule that you have to do something like that. Let me see if I can find it, if I have a picture in mind. I don't have a picture in mind, but I can show you how to do that. You just put it there. It just has these empty folders for you to put whatever you want in them.
Okay, I was just hoping the computer would stop you from putting a photo in a document folder, but
no, unfortunately not. And there are maybe reasons why you want to put folders in the, or pictures in the documents folder. Okay, this is my documents folder. By the way, whenever you want to open the folders up here, all you can do is click on it and bring it up over here. But if you scroll down a little bit, you will also see a documents folder here. This documents folder up here and this one down here are the exact same thing.
Ah, okay.
They just put a copy of it up here for convenience.
Oh, I was wondering about that. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. All these here documents, downloads, documents, and desktop, those are the exact same thing here, and pictures. It's exactly the same thing here. You have a couple more down here that are not pinned up there automatically. You have music and videos. Those are also empty folders for you to use.
Okay.
If you're down here, you will see little tiny triangles next to them. That means there's more things under there. There's more folders and things under there. And if I click the little triangle, basically a little triangle next to something or a little arrow next to something like this means more options. And if I click on that little triangle, it expands the list of options. And these are other folders that are inside there.
Okay.
And I'll show you. So this is in the documents folder. You can have folders inside of folders. These are folders that are inside the document folder. And here under library programs, I have even more folders in there.
Okay.
And EYM is like where I keep all my craft stuff, my craft classes. I'm just opening this up because I know there are some pictures in here. And in my crafts folder, I have documents, but I also have class photos from previous classes.
Okay.
Because I used to say I would take photos of everybody's projects to submit them with my monthly report. So these are a bunch of photos that are inside the documents folder.
Okay.
And the reason I put them there is because I want to keep them with all the rest of the craft class documents instead of having to go to an entirely different folder down here under pictures to get to them. I want them with the other things.
Okay.
Okay, so that expands these little arrows. You'll notice that when I clicked on one to get the more options, the arrow now turns downward, showing that it has been expanded. Right. If I want to collapse that back down again, I click on that one again and it collapses it back up.
Okay.
I have quite a lot of different folders in my documents. And what folders you have in here is strictly a matter of personal preference. It's how you like to organize your things. I have mine or my documents organized by the types of things I do in my job. And then under there, like library programs, that's all. And I keep all of the stuff that I have done on previous programs, and I've worked here for 22 years. Okay. I've only had a personal computer for myself. For the first 2 years, we had to share a computer. So I mean, I've got about 20 years worth of stuff on here. And I go through periodically and delete things that I know I'm never going to use again. But these are different programs here. So here's where I have my computer class program stuff. And this is where I have all my handouts and my my flyers that I put out of what's in each month and all sorts of things like that. So that's where I keep that. So it's all based on how you want to organize your stuff.
Got it.
Okay, so back up here to the quick access. I'm just going to demonstrate how to move things around. Because let's say you saved some stuff off the internet and it's in your downloads. And I've got this, and now that's not where I wanted to put it. I want to put things in other places, but it automatically put them in the downloads. So now I need to be able to move them over here to one of these other folders.
Okay.
Well, what I can do is I can just drag it into the folder over here where I want it to go. If I want to delete some, I can also delete things from here. If I want to delete something, I just click on it and I hit delete. I click on this one, I hit delete. I can also rename them here. So if let's say, these were from a Halloween program that we did at the library. It was a trunk or treat, and that was how I was going to dress up my car. So I got pictures here. So I want that under library programs, because those are photos from a library program that I did. Or maybe I want those just in the picture folders. I decide that, and over here, let's say I want them in pictures. I'm going to expand it using the little triangle. And I have a folder for Halloween at the library that I'm going to drag these over into.
Okay.
So I can click on it. I hold the button down and I drag it over here until the Halloween at the library is lit up in blue.
Ah.
And then I let go.
Ah, okay.
And now here it is in my Halloween at the library.
Got it.
By the way, sorry for that gross picture. We had a special effects makeup workshop once.
It's all right.
Okay, and back up to the downloads. Now I could do that one by one by one, or I can drag more than one at a time.
Oh.
How I do that is I either hold down the shift key or the control key when I'm selecting them. So if I click this one, it turns blue and that means it's selected. Now, if I hold down the shift key and then click one down here, it selects everything in between.
Where's the shift? Oh, I see the shift key.
It's the
Okay,
same one
I see
you
it now.
use to get a capital letter.
Yeah, I see it now. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Except that selected more than what I want. These don't go in there. Just the ones here, these. So if I want some that aren't all the way in a row, what I do is I click one and then I'll hold down the control button instead of the shift. If I hold down the control button, then I can select one by one individual pictures without everything in between.
Got it.
So now if I bring this down and drop button Halloween at the library, I click on them, hold the button down, and I pull over here. And now you'll notice my picture that I'm dragging now has the number 5 on it. That means I'm dragging all 5 images at once.
Okay.
And then I let go.
Now, just to review, what's the difference between the shift and the control button?
Shift, let's say, okay,
yeah.
So if I click this one and I hold shift down and then I click the end one, it selects everything in this row, everything in between.
The horizontal.
Yeah, well, and I can go downward too. So if I click, yeah, it goes in rows. So if I click this one and I hold shift down and I click this one down here, it goes in rows here. Everything in between the two I clicked.
That's the control button.
That's a shift.
Oh, shift. Okay.
Control is if I click this one and I hold the control button down and I click this one down here. It just selects those 2 that I clicked, not the stuff in between.
Okay. Gotcha.
Shift is everything in between. Control is little individual ones.
Individual. Okay. Great. Thank you.
Yeah. And if you're looking at it, if your things over here are organized in rows, it goes one row, then drops down to the next, and that's the order it goes in. But sometimes this part over here isn't organized in rows. Sometimes it's just a list of titles. I'll show you what that looks like. It looks like, usually looks like that. Over here, while you're looking at things, up here you'll have you'll have a couple of tabs. You'll have File, Home, Share, and View. If you click on a photo or a picture, you'll also then have a picture tools pop up. But if you're not clicked on a picture, you just have these four. And if you look at the view, this section here is called layout. This is how the items, how your files appear on this pane on this side, the right pane. Before we were looking at large images, and that's what large images is. Extra large, or large icons, I'm sorry. Large,
Okay.
extra large is really big.
Oh, okay, view, okay.
Yeah, large, medium, small. List is just a list of titles. And if you're doing the list, all the ones that say icons, they go, or the ones that say extra large, large, and medium icons, those go in rows across. The rest of them, or the small icons, goes downward. And list goes downward. So small icons and list look pretty much the same.
Okay.
So that's the two there. Details gives you the list, and it's also downward, but it also gives you a little more information. Of course, anytime you see this little yellow symbol beside it, that is a folder that contains more, that can contain more stuff. Okay. If you don't see the little yellow icon before that, it's just a file. So all of these are files, and these up here are folders that can have files inside them. This column is when it was modified, not when the file was created. This was the last time that it was opened up, changed, and saved. So this one, it's an image, and it says September 17th, 2018. That is not when that may not be when that photo was created. I may have opened that photo or that picture up and changed the colors on it that date. It may have actually been created in like 2016.
Got it.
This column here that says type, this is what kind of file it is. You see these say folder. Like I told you, these yellow manila envelopes mean it's a folder. JPEG, that's JPG. That's a picture. The two most common ones, or the most common ones that are images, are JPG, GIF, and PNG. This one says MP3 audio. This one says it's an Adobe Acrobat document. Scrolling down, this one says it's a PowerPoint. And these are the different kinds of files. And sometimes, like under Adobe Acrobat and PowerPoint here, it will actually tell you what program will open it.
Okay.
The image files and the audio files, lots of different programs will open it. So it just tells you what kind of file it is.
All right.
And if it is associated with a particular program, like this is an Adobe Acrobat document, over here on the left, the little icon symbol is going to be the logo for that program.
Now, now, if you want to open that file, the Adobe Acrobat will automatically open that file, right?
Yes.
You don't have to go to Adobe Acrobat.
You can do it either way. Oh. If you're here, you can double click on this and it will automatically open the program. Or you can go to that program. If you happen to be in that program, you can click a button that says open, and it will bring you here, and then you can tell it, you can find which one you want it to open.
Okay.
So you can do it either way first. You can come here and double click on it, or you can go to the program and open it from inside the program.
Okay.
Okay, and the fourth column is what size it is, how big it is. Now these are measured in KB. Memory and storage in your computer is measured in bytes. A byte is a little teeny tiny little thing in the computer. A KB stands for kilobytes, which means 1,000. Although technically it's 1,024, which is really strange. Why they did, it's got some sort of technical reason why it goes in increments of 1,024 instead of 1,000, but hey. So this one is 52 kilobytes. This one is 15,000 kilobytes. And 1,000 kilobytes, generally speaking, is a megabyte. And 1,000 megabytes is a gigabyte. So you may see KB, you may see MB, and you may see GB. KB is small, MB is medium, GB is large. If you're buying places external like equipment to store your stuff, they may actually measure it in terabytes, which is a whole lot of space, but you won't usually see that. Okay, so you'll notice that some of these are fairly small. This one is 19. That's a really tiny picture. This one is 15,000. Music takes up a lot more space. Typing takes up very little space. Typing and words, very little space. Pictures, more space. Sound, even more space. Movies, whole lot of space. Now, if you have this, now automatically these are usually organized alphabetically by the name of the file. But if you want to see the newest ones first, you can actually click on the word date modified to sort the files by this column. So if I click on that, it puts the oldest, or puts the newest at the top. If I click on it again, it puts the oldest at the top.
Oh, okay.
So if I don't remember what I called it, but I know it's in this folder and I know I just created it last week, I can click on date modified. All the new ones will be at the top. Yeah. And there's the one that just got created in January.
Okay.
Then you can go back and click on name to alphabetize them by the name again. So anytime you click on one of these column headings, it will sort it by that column.
Okay.
And remember, we are looking at the details view. A lot of the other ones don't have the different columns, so you can't sort them.
Right.
A couple other ones I haven't talked about are tiles, which is kind of like the list or the small icons or medium icons, except it's organized downward in columns instead of across in rows, and it gives a little bit more information about the pictures. Sometimes it will say how big they are, but it won't give the date created, and it doesn't give the columns so you can sort it. If you've got one of these like this and you like the way it looks in here, but you still want to sort it, but you don't have the column headings, you have a button here that says sort by. That you can sort it by the date. Even though it doesn't have the date here, you can still sort it by the date. It's just easier to do that when it's in the details view and you have the column headings.
Okay.
Content is very similar to the details. It's just laid out a little differently. So here in the details, you'll see the name, date, modified, type, and size. In content, it's laid out a little differently, but you'll still see the name, the type, the size. And for images, apparently it doesn't give the date modified, but for other documents, it may.
Okay.
So those are the different layouts, the different views and layouts that you can use to look at these things here. I prefer to use details and large icons. Those are the two I like to use most. Details just for the ease of sorting things and rearranging it, and large icons if I'm looking at pictures, because then I can tell the difference between the pictures. They're large enough for me to see what the picture is of, because if I downloaded this off the internet, look at this name. I don't know what this is if I'm just looking at the list.
Right.
So if I'm looking at pictures, I really need to see at least the medium, but that's still a little small for me on my screen. And so I like to use large.
Okay.
So details and large icons are the two views that I look at most. Okay. Now, I said you could rename them over here too. So if, let's say I took this photo, if it's somebody else's photo, I may not want to rename it, but if I took a photo on my computer or my phone and I transferred it over to this computer, my phone camera gives it one of these long weird names too. But I want to say, let's say I want to call this Halloween Pages for Craft Project. If I double click on this, it will open. But if I click on it once on the picture, and then I pause for a second, and then I click a second time later, instead of opening it, it brings this up. It puts a box around the name and highlights it in blue. When it does that, I can use the backspace or delete key to erase the name, and I can give it a new name. And hit enter. So double click fast opens it up. 2 clicks slowly lets you change the name.
Okay.
Which you sometimes do accidentally if you're trying to double click and you don't click fast enough. That may happen and you may wonder, oh, what the heck is that? Why did it do that? Well, that's why. Because it was too much of a pause in between the 2 clicks. Okay, so let's see what else I can do. Oh, about the names. You can only have letters, numbers, spaces, and I believe a straight line dash. So I can put, let's say if I just wanted a dash here, I can do a dash like that.
No commas, I guess.
No commas, no apostrophes, no quotation marks, no punctuation aside from a 1 dash.
Okay.
Don't use dots or slashes because those actually have computer meanings, and it will let you do a dot, but it will mess things up. Sometimes it will confuse the computer. Okay. So sometimes I like to put dates on things, you know, so I would put, instead of a slash, like, yeah, see, I tried to put a slash and it says, oh, you cannot contain any of the following characters. It doesn't like that. Oh. So the old versions didn't tell you that. They just, when you hit enter, it would just say something was wrong. So, oh, today's the 4th, 04, 02, 21. Whoops. I can go back and edit it. And then when I hit enter, it takes it.
Gotcha.
So that's how you can rename things. And you can move things by dragging them around here. However, about the dragging, if I am not good, if I don't have the right hand strength to hold that button down while I'm moving my mouse and drag it, if my hand has a tendency to let go, like my sister has, she had a stroke about 10 years ago, and her right hand sometimes just randomly drops things. So she can't get firm enough pressure on that to drag it without dropping it someplace somewhere else.
Yeah.
So you can actually, instead of dragging it over here, if you go up here under the Home tab, there is a Move button.
Oh.
Move to. And these are the most common, these are the most recent places I've been using. These are the pinned stuff and the most recent ones. If the folder you want to move it to is not in here, you can click Choose Location, and it will bring up a smaller version of this left pane that you can then choose the different inside folders and things and
Okay.
click Move it to. So let's say that's another Halloween one. So I'm going to go back down to Halloween. Actually, that was for a craft project that I did. So I'm going to go under Documents, and this is another one where this is a picture, but I'm going to put it in the Documents because it went with my craft programs. So it's under Library Programs, EYM. That used to be the name of the craft, Exercise Your Mind. But crafts and idea sheets, and move. So now if I go over here, whoops, to Documents, Library Programs, EYM, Crafts, Idea Sheets, it's now somewhere in here alphabetically.
It's on the top.
Oh,
on the right.
Yeah, there it is.
On the right side.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very good.
So that Move button, if you're not good with the dragging and dropping thing.
Yeah, I do worry when I
Mm-hmm.
when I do that, because if by accident, for whatever reason, I let go, then I have like no idea where it wound up.
Exactly. Now, yeah, so that's why you can click on one of these and click the Move button.
Yeah.
And that's a little bit more secure.
Right.
Because it doesn't involve dragging and letting go.
Yeah,
If
like
you are looking for something on your computer and you're not sure where it is, but you know it's somewhere in the documents, but you don't know where in here, you can click on the Documents folder. And up here in the right-hand corner, there's a search box. And whatever folder you click on over here, it will search for that particular thing. So I know it was called, I know I called it Halloween something.
Right.
So I click over here, and I know it's somewhere in these documents. So I clicked on Documents, and I click over here, and I'm going to look for Halloween. Now, this search may take a little while. Sometimes it takes longer than others. But there's a list, and it looks not only in the name, but it also looks any of the documents where you've typed up, it can actually search inside those documents.
Okay.
So that's why it's coming up with this thing that says 2010 October. That was my monthly report where I talked about my Halloween programs that I did. I talked about it in November and October and November about my Halloween programs.
Okay.
So that's why that showed up, even though it doesn't say Halloween. But there, see, there it is. There's my Halloween project. And
one quick question.
Uh-huh.
On my computer and on yours, there's at least 3 places on the left for documents. Now you're saying that those are not separate,
No.
3 separate document folders.
No.
Documents is just everything is the same. But
Yes.
even if it shows, yeah, right. That's
this
like, I thought
one,
maybe another document folder, but it's not.
No, that's the exact same thing right there.
Okay, very good. That's important. I didn't know that.
Yeah, this stuff up here is just let's call them shortcuts. These are just like shortcuts.
Yeah. Okay.
To these
as long
down
as they're
here.
all the same, because I actually thought they were like different stuff was in there. Okay.
No, Now let's say I want to create a folder. I'm going to go back to downloads because I know there's nothing important in downloads that I can mess up. So that's why I like demonstrating on it. Now let's say I want to create a folder inside downloads. I can click up here under, I'm on the home tab. I can click new folder. And at the very bottom, inside the downloads, it has the little file folder image. And it's got that same box where where I renamed it. It opens that up automatically. I can erase that and say demonstration. If I can spell right, demonstration for files class. Okay. And I hit enter and it takes it. And now also I can show these documents. Downloads, there it is. If I click this downloads, there it is, demonstration for files class. I click this downloads, there it is, demonstration for files class. Same thing. Now I don't know if I created this or if I think I created a downloads folder inside my documents. That's not the same thing because that's a folder I created. I have no idea why I created it.
Should have put download 1 or download 2 or something like that. Yeah. Or your name on it. Okay.
Matter of fact, I'll rename it. I can click this. I can click here and use the rename button. If it shows over here on this side, I can use a rename button up here. If I've got it clicked over here, these buttons don't work except new folder. So if I want to rename this one over here, I can right click on it. When you right click, there's a list of options. And if you like right clicking, there's a rename right there.
Yeah.
There's also there's also a new where you can put in a new folder inside there instead of going up here.
Okay.
Whichever you prefer to use. So I can click rename here. Maybe I want to say that is craft downloads and things. So that actually changes it from me getting confused with this downloads.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So that brings up a point. It's probably best not to call folders something that you're going to confuse for something else. Yeah. If you have to call it downloads, add a qualifier, add a description or something else to go with it.
Okay. So the main one is the one that I see now, right? It says downloads, like plural.
Yeah, this one appears downloads, and this one is the same thing too.
And you can't change the name of that, can you?
I don't think so. No. Yeah, see, no. It's not letting me rename it.
That makes sense.
That's one that the computer created.
Yeah.
I cannot rename documents, downloads, music, pictures, videos, or desktop.
Okay.
Those are the ones that the computer has created. Oh, by the way, desktop. Remember I told you that this is the desktop?
Right.
If you save something here, it will actually save it on the desktop. So let's say I have this picture here, this wallpaper, and I want it saved on the desktop as a link that I can click on and open. I can drag this over here to desktop. Now, when I shrink this down, there it is right there.
Yeah.
Yep. Which once it's here, I can drag it and rearrange it, put it wherever I want it. Except I don't want it there, actually. I want it in my wallpapers. I actually have a folder because I tend to put pretty wallpaper on the desktop. So whenever I see a picture, I download it, and then so normally instead of dragging it to the desktop, I would drag it to my wallpaper folder. which is in my pictures. There. So these are all the pictures that I've collected to use as pretty wallpaper. Which you saw some of my wallpaper. Today I have actually changed my background to a plain color so it wouldn't be distracting. After reviewing the video from Wednesday's class, I realized that that background was a little bit distracting. So I'll change it back after the class.
It's okay.
Yeah. Okay, so other things I can do with these, if I, you'll notice if I don't have something selected, some of these options up here are gray and I can't click on them because I don't have anything selected. In order to use these, the move, that kind of thing, I have to click on one of these items in order to select it to be able to move it. Because otherwise, what am I going to move? Nothing. You know, I have to tell the computer what I want to apply these things to. I can also copy to. Move physically takes it off of this out of this folder and moves it over to a different folder. Copy will leave it in this folder and put a copy of it in another folder. So I have two versions of the same thing in different folders. So I have it saved twice if I do the copy.
Got it.
Delete is to delete it, to throw it in that recycle bin that we talked about on Wednesday. Rename is the same thing as double clicking on the name. It brings up that just like before. So this is the same thing as just doing click, pause, click. Same thing doing rename. These other items I don't generally use. This open is available if you don't like double clicking or you have trouble double clicking. Like I said on Wednesday, you can click once and hit enter, but you can also click on it and click open. Same thing as double clicking.
Right.
This copy and paste here, if you use these two buttons, is the exact same thing as using this copy to. This was the original way, and then they changed it into one button, but they just didn't get rid of the old way. So copy and paste is the same thing as copy to. Cut and paste is the same thing as move to.
Okay.
And you also have a button to pin it to the quick access right here. And that will pin it up here at the top with a little thumbtack. The share tab, I don't really do these. You need to have, this is to work with other software programs and apps that you have loaded on your computer. Email will open up an email program that you have loaded on your computer, which it will work for me because I have actual Outlook loaded on my computer. But if you use Gmail or Yahoo, this will not open that up.
Right.
And it has to be something that is loaded on your computer already. Zip. Now this is an interesting one. Sometimes you will see a folder that has a little zipper on it. If people send stuff, when people send stuff over the internet through an email, there's only so much, such big of a file that you can put in an email before it says, no, that's too big. So maybe you want to put 15 photos and send them all to in one email. And they say, oh, that's too big. That's too much space. Well, if I select all 15 of the photos and then I click zip, what it's going to do is it's going to bundle them together into a smaller compressed bundle. Kind of like, you know, those vacuum bags that they sell to store winter sweaters?
The vacuum bag?
Yeah, yeah. You put the sweaters in the vacuum bag and you turn on the vacuum and it sucks all the air out.
Yeah.
So they take up less space than they would normally.
Right.
That's what the zip does. When you select multiple items and you zip them all together, you're basically squishing them together and sucking out all of the empty space.
Okay, quick question. Does
Yeah.
that lower the quality of each of the photos when you do that?
No,
Okay.
it simply takes out any extra space that's not used. So some pictures, some files might not compress very much, and some might. Like if
Hmm.
you put a 2x4 in that vacuum bag and suck out the air, the 2x4 is not going to get any smaller because it's a solid object.
Right.
But if you put a sweater in there and suck out all the air,
Oh,
it's going to get
yeah,
really small because there's a lot of empty air in there in that sweater.
I see.
Same thing with the computer files. Some
Okay,
of them have empty space, and if they do have empty space, the zip will suck out the empty space.
got it.
And then when you get them on the other end, and then you can email it. Let's see. I think I actually have one. I have some in here that I have downloaded. Okay, so these were pictures I downloaded from websites to use in craft projects.
Hmm.
And you'll see I have the folders that say that have the zipper on it.
Right.
These are ones that they've done that to. When you have one of these, you can click on it. When you click on it, you will now see another tab up here that says compressed folder tools extract.
Hmm. Yeah.
For some reason, it used to be zip and unzip, but now it's zip and extract. They
Okay.
changed the unzip to extract, but basically it's unzipping them. And you click extract all, and then it will ask you where to save the items. You tell it what folder to put it in, and it will break them apart and reconstitute them.
Hmm.
So whenever you see one with a zipper on it, that's what they've done to it. You just click on it and click extract all
Got it.
and tell it where to put it. Okay. All right. What else do we have up here? Share is also where if you have a computer that has a CD burner, which means you can save things on a CD, on a blank CD.
Hmm.
This is where you do that. You would select all of these things here and click burn to disk. Now mine's not going to do anything because I don't have that. But if
Oh, you need the burner?
you need the burner,
Okay.
yeah. They have the little button there even if you don't have a CD burner, because you can always install one later.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, and so that's that. The other things is under view. We didn't go over, but these are things that are not necessarily things that I use, but you can play around with them to see what they do. Like this one is navigation pane, and I can click that and turn that side thing off, which you don't want to do. But if it disappears, that's what you've accidentally done. On the view tab, you've unchecked the navigation pane.
What is navigation again?
That's this column here. Navigation lets you, this is called the navigation pane. Navigation is how you move around something on a computer.
Okay.
Yeah. So you have navigation keys, you have navigation directions. This is the navigation pane because it's a window pane that has the little outline of where you can go on your computer.
Okay.
Okay. So that's the buttons up here. Other things you've got in this navigation pane, we went over quick access. You will also see OneDrive. Now,
Is the navigation, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no.
Is the navigation much different than the home button page? That's right next to the on the top there?
Home is the tab where most of the normal stuff that you do is going to rest.
Okay.
Home is the computer word for beginning. So this is the tab where most people start.
Right. So navigation doesn't have the same, it's different.
Yeah, navigation is all the different places you can go.
Okay.
Whereas home is is the place where you start doing stuff. It's your controls.
Okay.
The home tab is is where most of your normal controls are. Okay, OneDrive. If you have a Microsoft account, any kind of Microsoft email account, well, like Outlook or Hotmail, they usually give you space to save stuff on their computers. And if you're logged into that account on this computer, you can click OneDrive and it will go and let you save stuff on Microsoft's computers. Microsoft is a company that makes Windows, the system that's running the computer.
Right.
So you can save stuff. The little picture's a cloud because they call that cloud storage. If you save things in the cloud, remember I said internet is theoretically the internet is up. That means it's in the clouds. Whenever you save something on somebody else's computers and send it through the internet, that's called saving it in the cloud. OneDrive happens to be the one that Microsoft lets you use if you have a Microsoft account.
Okay.
That's just what that is. So I generally don't do that. Well, you have to think about it. If you're saving stuff on their computers, you will be able to access it from any computer that has internet where you can log into your Microsoft account. But it also means you're putting your stuff on other people's computers. And the people who give you the computer space have the legal right to see what you're putting up on their computers.
Oh.
Yeah, because, well, it's their computers. You're putting stuff on their computers. They have the legal right to see what you're doing with their stuff.
Right.
So you're getting some convenience, but you're giving up some privacy.
If you upload to OneDrive, you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Same thing with Google has a similar service called Google Drive. Same thing with that. Whenever you upload something to somebody else's computers, as in this OneDrive, you're getting a convenience, but you're giving up some privacy. Okay. All right. Now the next part here is this PC. And there you'll see those folders we've been playing with here: desktop, documents, downloads, music, pictures, and videos. But you will also see local disk C. Now, in Wednesday's class, I said that the C drive was the storage inside your computer. This will get you to everything on your computer, every single file, including the ones that make the computer work. So don't mess with this one. Don't mess with the C. Because if you rearrange stuff in here or delete something in here, you can make your computer stop working. Oh. So don't mess with this unless you know what you're doing. Just ignore it. Okay. That's why they create these other folders for you to use. Because all the other folders, you can delete stuff off of it and it won't hurt your computer. Okay. But if you mess up this one, you can actually hurt your computer. If you are connected up to other computers, when computers are connected up together so that they can share information, that's called a network. And that's what these here are. For me, I have S and Z. These are ones that my computer department has set up. And these go to servers. A server is a big computer that's mostly just used for storage and processing big programs for the whole company. And these are the ones where I can put something out here and other people in my department can look at it and access it. So that's called a network, and those were put on. You probably won't have this on your computer, but these were put on by my IT department.
Okay.
You can also get to those kind of things from under network. You can get more access here. That's where you can set up the network, and they've turned that off for me so that I can't do it. Now, I want to show you what happens when I put in a flash drive. Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen for just a second. So for those of you who were not in Wednesday's class, this is a flash drive. Some people also call it a thumb drive because it's about the same size as your thumb. It has a little rectangular end that you put in a hole in your computer called a USB port. This is used to save information and items and transfer them from computer to computer easily. So what I do is I will like take the video recording of this session. I will put it on here. I will take this to my laptop for editing. And then I will put the edited file back on here, put it back in my computer, and copy it over onto the computer. I do it that way instead of sending it through the internet because video files are huge. And it would take a long time for me to upload it to OneDrive. It takes quite a while for upload it to OneDrive, and then I have to access OneDrive on my laptop, and then takes quite a while for it to download, especially if I'm on a slow Wi-Fi. So it's a lot easier to use this. So when I plug this in, I'm going to share my screen again. When I plug this in, I'm going to show you what happens. Now watch down here. I have C, S, and Z right now. If I put this in, I now have USB drive F. It's a USB drive because it's in the USB port. It just gave it the next letter available. You're like, well, between C and F, there should be D and E. Well, I have some drives. I have a DVD drive and I have something else loaded on my computer that don't appear until I put the disk in. And then you'll see, then I would see D. So there is actually D and E actually are being used. So F, there it is, it's there. Now, sometimes when you put it in for the first time in the bottom right-hand corner, it will pop up and say, how do you want to handle this? What do you want me to do with this flash drive? And you can click on it and choose Open File Explorer. And it will do this. Once you've done that a few times, it will usually do it automatically, or there's a button that says that you can click to say, do the same thing for all the flash drives I put in. And there it is. It's my stuff. And now I can click on stuff here, my documents or my downloads, and I can click and drag this over here. Now, one thing I do want to tell you about, normally if you drag it around inside your computer, it actually moves it from folder to folder. If you drag it from your computer onto a flash drive, it doesn't actually move it, it just copies it. It's a safety feature.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's still here in my downloads. Even though I dragged it, it's still there. But if I look down here, there it is right there. So whenever you drag something or move or copy it to, if you drag something over to your flash drive, it doesn't move it. copies it. If you want to move it, you actually have to click the Move To button so that it will
Oh,
cut, yeah, or the cut and paste, whichever you're used to. And that will actually cut it out of here and move it over onto the flash drive. Okay, so if I'm done with the flash drive, I do not just want to pull that sucker out of that hole in my computer. If the computer is still looking at it, still showing it up here, and I pull that flash drive out, it might mess up the stuff it's looking at. I have to eject that flash drive before I pull it out. And how you eject it is you right click on it. You use the right mouse button and click on it. One of the options is the word eject. You click on it using the normal button, and the letter will disappear, or sometimes the whole window will disappear. And that means it's okay to take it out. So now I can safely pull it out. You definitely want to do that because, oh my gosh, I forgot once and I lost about a month's worth of work because
wow.
it corrupted about half the items on there. And I had to get special software to recover some of them, and about half of them I lost because it couldn't recover them. Always remember to eject those suckers first before you take them out. And I think that's about everything I wanted to go over today. Did anybody have any questions? Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing. And if nobody has any questions, then I will go ahead and just wrap up. I hope you see how the files and folders, the File Explorer, can help you organize things. But you need to figure out how you want your stuff organized and then create the folders to do it the way you want to. Maybe you want your photos all by year. Me, I like to have my photos by families and friends, vacation, crafts, this and that, by subject. I like my photos by subject. So that's the way I've got mine organized, with those folders. If you like yours by year, you'll create folders that say 1973, 1974, 1975. Or maybe you want your photos organized by person that they're on, that's in them. In which case you'll have a folder for Bobby, a folder for John, a folder for Amy, that kind of thing. So it's all based on what you want to organize your stuff. And you really need to do that because over the years, you get lots and lots of stuff on your computer, and it gets harder and harder to find. Which is why I'm obsessive about creating detailed folder structures, because I'm a librarian. I like to organize things, you know. Okay. I hope you learned at least one new thing today.
Oh yeah, more than that.
Yeah. Okay. So go ahead, play around with it, and I hope it's useful for you. And that's, if there's no questions, then I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.